Thank you, Keith. And I'm going to do what I should do more often when I make the right decision. I'm going to let Maura speak for us.
Well, thank you, Keith, for those lovely words. This acknowledgement from Little Flower in celebration of Father Fagan is a great honor. To be connected to him in any way is something I will never forget and that Frank and I will always cherish. When I was a young girl, Father Fagan was a big presence in the lives of me and my siblings. When our parents first started to explain to us about Little Flower, I had a very difficult time understanding the circumstances of these children's lives. Their daily lives were in such a contrast to ours. We lived in a world surrounded by cousins, aunts, uncles, and so much love. It could have been very upsetting to think about the children without the same environment, but my father always finished the explanation with, "But don't worry, honey, Father Fagan is there to take care of them, and they will all be fine because of him." And that was an understatement. Father Fagan gave these children safety, security, love, and a sense of family. Every child or adult that I have ever met from Little Flower system speaks of Father Fagan with love and admiration, and the message from them is consistent. He made me feel safe. He believed in me, and always he told me I could succeed at anything. As I grew up, Frank and I became friends with Father Fagan and enjoyed working with him on fundraising events, mostly at Christmas time. I have so many fond memories of those days. But one that comes to mind the most is the brainstorming lunches with Father. We would hold planning meetings with Susan Lucci, Tracy Clinton, Mary Ellen Finnerty, Liz Riley, and Mary Liz Cade. So much fun. Ideas would be tossed around about what to do, and Father would just every once in a while interject and say, "But how would that affect the children? How would the children feel about that? How can we involve the children?" It was always about the children. I want to take a minute to share with you my memories of my last visit with Father. We were in his home in Wading River, in the living room, overlooking the Long Island Sound, just talking and reminiscing and enjoying ourselves. He then offered to hear my confession, and believe me, it then became a very long afternoon. But it was one that I will always cherish. He was so special. Little Flower is all about family, as we all know, and this always hits home for Frank and me. The organization works with parents and children and various services to keep the families together or to get them back together after separations, well-needed separations. When that is not possible, they work to find the perfect foster family. And then for those who are actually living at Little Flower, they create a family/home atmosphere. They live in cottages in Wading River. Previously, that years ago had been dormitories, but the idea of a cottage was created so that they can each cottage has its own living room, dining room, den, and each child or adult has their own bedroom. The cottages are filled with photographs of the holidays, outings to museums and firehouses, trips to New York City, Philadelphia, etc. And everywhere you look in the cottages, there are inspirational words and signs to encourage the children throughout their day. One of my favorites on a recent visit was a big sign hand-painted on the wall that says, "No one can do everything, but everyone can do something." Our connection with Little Flower started with my grandfather's brother, Father Bill Cullen. Father Bill, as Keith mentioned, I think, worked beside Bernard Quinn, Father Bernard Quinn, who founded Little Flower. I remember our Father Bill as a very happy, jolly man, singing and laughing and playing the ukulele at family parties. But his work was of a much more serious nature. His dedication to his parish, St. Peter Claver in Brooklyn, which was among the poorest in New York City, is legendary. And Father Bill is the one who brought Little Flower into the hearts of the Cullen family. And worked tirelessly to improve the lives of these families and children. Father Bill's commitment to equality was equally impressive. I just have to mention that I well remember learning that our Father Bill marched in Selma with Martin Luther King, something we were all always proud of. And we're always all proud of our beloved Father Bill. 2 weeks, just to share with you one more thought. 2 weeks ago, I was lucky to have the opportunity to again visit Little Flower, and this time I was able to bring my son Francis with me. My first stop on the tour was the Conway Recreation Center, built through the efforts of the family of Dee and Jim Conway, great friends of Little Flower. Anyone who knows the Conways can only imagine how magnificent this facility is. The center is a beautifully equipped facility with state-of-the-art computers, ping pong tables, video games, an activity room, and a lounge. A place for the children and adults to have a safe haven for rest, relaxation, entertainment, fun, and community. I met many of the children and disabled adults that live on the Wading River campus that day. One young man in particular charmed me. He had a very young appearance, looking to me to be about 14 years old or so. In actuality, I found out he was a few years older, and it was also clear that he had some challenges. He was extremely polite and chatty, and he told me about the many things that he enjoyed while living at Little Flower: music, cooking, sports, typical teenage things. He told me that he worked in the Little Flower Cafe, cooking, taking care of customers, and seating people. He shared a story with me about a time recently that a local judge had come into the Little Flower Cafe, and after speaking with this young man, offered him to come and have an internship for a day in his courtroom. What an exciting day for this boy. And that experience, he told me, piqued his interest to become a lawyer someday. Or a veterinarian, he said, but could be a lawyer. He was enchanting. Our conversation stayed in my mind for weeks. I later called into Maureen to ask more about this boy and the circumstances that brought him to Little Flower. And I was told that he was considered in the system as a hard-to-place child, and that he has multiple challenges, including moderate mental retardation, that he lacks impulse control and has reactive attachment disorder. And that when he came to Little Flower, he did not speak and would not allow them to take his picture. That did not seem like the young man that I met. The young man that I met was very expressive, happy, and outgoing. This is the work of Little Flower. And because of the people there and the opportunities that he's given, I believe for sure that he will absolutely become a successful adult with a very satisfying career, whichever he may choose. Every individual story at Little Flower would break your heart and then warm it right back up when you hear how they are cared for, treated, directed, and educated. Lastly, I would just like to say that Frank and I are both from very large families, and many of them are here tonight, and we're thrilled about that. But I need to tell you that we also have two other families, our friends and co-workers from NBC Universal and Ralph Lauren. We are thrilled and grateful that they are able to join us here tonight, so thank you for that. And in ending, that's all. So I just want to say to really just God bless you all and your families for the gifts that your presence here tonight gives to the Little Flower Children and Family Services. Thank you. Good night.